Anthony Edwards is about to become the face of the NBA. Now, all these Anthony Edwards, Michael Jordan comparisons might be a little ridiculous. Yes, we all know the side-by-side picture where it looks like could it be his father? And we all know that he is a shooting guard and actually a real shooting guard in this league. I feel like he is what a shooting guard is supposed to be. But at the end of the day, he's not going to be Michael Jordan. He's not Michael Jordan. But to say that you don't think he's going to be the face of the league, to me, would be crazy. Yeah, he plays in Minnesota. Who cares? These days in the NBA, everyone's on TV. There's social media everywhere. And what you need to do to be the number one pick is be really good at basketball, fun to watch, charismatic, a great personality, and all those things. And Anthony Edwards has them all. Like I said, he's only 22 years old. He was the number one pick in the draft, which makes it even more exciting. He's 6'4", 225, which is just perfect size, like the exact mold of what a shooting guard's supposed to be. And this season, while bringing the Timberwolves to become one of the best teams in the NBA, he's averaging 26.7 points per game, number 11 in the league, 5.4 rebounds, 5.1 assists, and he's shooting 46% with, being one of the best shooters and volume shooters in the league, or playmakers, so to say, and shooting 37% from three. Now, 22 years old, averaging pretty much 27, 5, and 5 is pretty ridiculous. Especially if you just read, like when you go to his recent games, right? You go to like a recent box score, which I'm going to his last 5 games. You see 30 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists. 32, 8 assists, 7 rebounds. 31, 10 rebounds, 5 assists. 37, 8 rebounds, 4 assists. 25, 7 and 7. It's unbelievable. Like, we're talking about a guy that is quickly showing that next year, I bet you Anthony Edwards is very close to the top of the MVP ladder because he is that good. And you even hear guys, I think it was Karl Anthony Towns, they asked him who he thinks the next face of the league is going to be, and he said Anthony Edwards. And it proves that not only is he a good teammate, not only is he exciting, his own teammates, Karl Anthony Towns is supposed to be like the Timberwolves, like, golden child, right? Like, he was the number one pick. He's stuck through this rebuild, and he's here, and, they're finally emerging, and he's like, that guy's the face of the league. And not only does that mean they think he's good, that also means as a teammate, they love him and respect him. And there's no, no butting of heads because of who's the face of this team. This is a legitimate situation in Minnesota that we have brewing. They're doing it as one of the most exciting young teams. Bringing back Mike Conley as a veteran and having him signed on for 2 years is a big deal. And having just that rest of the roster, the way that it's set up, is so important for the success of this team in the future. I mean, to me, now, they're not going to be favorites going into, the championship this year or anything. But if Anthony Edwards in the playoffs can take it to the next level and show like, hey, next year when, hopefully Karl Anthony Towns hopefully comes back this year fully healthy and able to play in the playoffs, but you never know. But if Karl Anthony Towns is healthy next year and you have Jaden McDaniels, a great piece to have on a team with Mike Conley, with Anthony Edwards, with Rudy Gobert, they might prove that they're the next Nuggets that are going to be competitive for a championship for 2 or 3 years. The next Warriors, you got 5-6 year span of being extremely competitive. And Anthony Edwards loves Minnesota. He said it's better than Miami and New York and LA or whatever. I don't know the exact quote, but he loves playing in Minnesota. And he should. He's going to be the face of that franchise. He is the man in Minnesota, and it's going to stay that way for a long time. He will be the face of this NBA as well. Let's not forget, he's funny. He always is cracking jokes, charismatic. People love him. He has the personality, the way he interacts with fans, the big smile on his face, but also killer mentality. Does play like, Michael Jordan, the posters that you see. The posters are unbelievable. I mean, it's old school basketball posters, like the Vince Carter type of posters. And you see him yesterday depending on when you're watching this field. Yes, they lost to the Nuggets, okay? They lost by 3 to the Denver Nuggets, the team who's now taken sole possession of the number 2 spot or tied for the number 1 spot also with the Oklahoma City Thunder. The Wolves are only 1 game back. If they won that game, they'd be in that spot. It's not a big deal. There was no Rudy Gobert. There was no Karl Anthony Towns. I mean, there's no Naz Reid. There's no whoever it may be. It was Jaden McDaniels, Kyle Anderson, Mike Conley, Nickeil Alexander, and Anthony Edwards in that starting lineup. The big men were out. A lot of their best players are out. And Anthony Edwards still put up 30 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists, and almost got them to the point where they beat the Denver Nuggets. He is right there to becoming the best player in the NBA in 2 years. I think he's going to surpass guys like Jason Tatum in just a year or two. Maybe next year he'll surpass Jason Tatum. He might be, because of injury problems every year, he might start to surpass somebody like Joel Embiid eventually. It's going to be really interesting to see what he does, and he will be the face of this league. And I'm so excited to see what the Minnesota Timberwolves can do going forward because they are that good. And so is Anthony Edwards.